Good morning, welcome to Catex TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Thursday, June 25th, 2015. If you want to follow us on Twitter, go to Catex TV. There was a strong earthquake that struck about 75 miles west-northwest of Anchorage, Alaska last night. It was a 5.8. It was initially said to be a 6.2. It was definitely felt in downtown Anchorage. There were no reports of any damage or injuries, nor was there a tsunami expected. The situation right now in Brussels is, quite frankly, a madhouse. Nobody knows what the situation is. Surrounding the European Union buildings are hordes of journalists and photographers trying to get information. European finance ministers have expressed bemusement on the status of the talks with Greece after they were presented at the last minute with competing Greek proposals aimed at resolving the standoff over aid. According to the finance minister of Malta, we have run out of comments and also run out of patience. We don't know what has been deleted or added. We don't know where the disagreements are. The German finance minister Wolfgang Schäuble said that rather than making progress, the Greeks have now been moving backwards. The Finnish finance minister said the process continues. It's quite the ping-pong back and forth. The worst case scenario for now is that we're going to continue this tomorrow. Meanwhile, oddly enough, in Athens, the Greek stock exchange continues to trade higher. Greek stocks and bonds are up. It's quite a scenario, actually. The death toll from the severe heat wave in southern Pakistan has now climbed past 1,000 deaths. This is even as some cooler temperatures have finally come to the region. The recent spike in temperatures come as many of the Muslims in Pakistan are celebrating Ramadan during the daylight. So they're fasting then, and that means that they all turn their power on at the same time. There have been multiple electric failures throughout the southern part of the country, and in Karachi in particular. Mortuary officials say that bodies are piling up on top of one another and that the mortuaries are overflowing. Meanwhile, the Indian state of Gujarat to the northwest of Mumbai, flooding triggered by torrential monsoon rains have killed 41 people. The Air Force has been deployed to help with evacuations, including some 44 passengers who were stuck on a bus on a flooded highway. Marsh the big American and international brokerage firm, says that the meteoric rise in the use of unmanned flying drones presents opportunities for the insurance industry. Marsh says that in 10 years' time, about 10% of all global civil aviation will be unmanned. Global spending on drones is expected to be around $40 billion this year alone and exceed $100 billion by 2030. According to Marsh, the largest growth in coming years is expected to be for visual line-of-sight drones, particularly those carrying unmanned cargo. They're going to require up to $1 million physical loss, sums insured for each drone. They also note that the surveillance drones that are used by mapping companies and surveyors will be carrying cameras slung underneath the wings. The cameras are very expensive and may have higher value than the drones themselves, and thus will need to be insured. The main growth for drones is in machines costing less than $250,000, which are usually small, and thus, of course, they can easily be stolen. So there's going to be insurance for that. Throughout France today, taxi drivers in the whole country are on a nationwide strike, snarling every single French city. The object of their wrath? Uber. Travelers hoping to catch a flight, walking through the streets, are seen walking through the streets and on highways with their suitcases. Riot police in Paris are firing tear gas at striking taxi drivers. The singer Courtney Love, who was married, who was the widow of Kurt Cobain from Nirvana, apparently was caught up in the airport tensions at Charles de Gaulle when taxi drivers ambushed her Uber-hired car and were threatening her. The driver of the Uber car was apparently beaten up with metal bats. She tweeted, "I'm safer in Baghdad." In Armenia's capital in Yerevan, for the third night in a row, demonstrators have blocked a major avenue. They're blocking the street because they're protesting against higher electric rates. The president has offered to meet with the representatives of the protesters. They have refused. The Protests began on Friday after the Armenian government agreed to raise electricity rates by up to 22% at the request of the Russian company that owns the country's power network. The Armenian protesters are very clear that they're protesting against the rate increase from the Russian-owned company, not against Russia itself, which is a very smart distinction to make if you're a country which borders Russia, given Russia's propensity to invade them, like the Ukraine. That's the news for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.